Hi, I'm Natalia, the founder of Upskill Me, and today we're continuing the conversation about the skills you need to acquire, or you probably want to acquire if you really want to move to the next level as a non-native speaker. I'm probably going to repeat myself, but the next level for me doesn't really mean any of the academic levels. The next level for me means the next level of people that you really want to work with, people that you want to learn from, people that you want to surround yourself with. In order to get to that next level of those people, you need to move to the next level in your communication skills. Look at 80% of the most innovative startups in the world today. All of them are non-native speakers. I would say the majority of new cool businesses are started by non-native speakers, yet all of them want English-speaking investors. They want foreign investors. Most of them are also international, but they all speak English. And the skill that you really want to develop to move to that next level of people is brevity. It's not the amount of words you know. It's not about how grammatically correct your speech is. It's not even about how technologically advanced your software is or your innovation is or whatever. It's not really about how well you know your product. It's really all about the ability to explain to the person listening what this is all about and what's the value and why you even have that idea in a very short, powerful and concise way. Here is why I think brevity is super important for non-native speakers. Most of the time, they go in quite the opposite direction. They want to explain things in a very detailed manner because they are afraid people will not understand and because they think they need to add even more details for people to understand what they actually mean. So maybe you recognize yourself in this example. You say something in a second language, let's say you say something in English, and you realize that what you said isn't really what you wanted to say. So there was a really bad sentence or a confusing sentence. Then you stop halfway through your sentence and you decide, oh, I should have started differently. And then you decide to start a new sentence again, and you start over, like trying to find the right words in your mind, trying to find the more precise words, trying to find the words that describe your idea better. And then you stop halfway again, seeing that the person has question marks in their eyes and they don't follow you, they don't understand you. Then you're lost at this point and you're trying to give even more information to just explain what you're trying to say. And if there is no response, if there is no feedback from the person, you try to explain even more and you end up saying a lot of irrelevant information because you're trying so hard to explain your thoughts, to express your thoughts in such a way so that people get it, and because you can't read the feedback, really. That happens a lot also in investors' meetings when startups don't know when to shut up. And seriously, I believe that the most important skill when it comes to self-presentations is knowing when to shut up. Most people have no idea, especially non-native speakers, and not because they like to brag or they like to talk a lot, but because they can't read that feedback and they can't tell if the person is following, and it kind of doesn't occur to them to ask if the person is actually following, and because they doubt the form, they doubt the words, they doubt how they're trying to put their ideas in words, they doubt the words that they're choosing, they're questioning, they're not sure if their ideas are clear, they're not sure if their ideas are well received. So they're confused, and at the same time they're trying to prevent another person from being confused, and they try to say even more words, and which ultimately leads to a completely opposite result. People on the other end get confused, and they're like, so what? What's the point? You don't really want to get there. So this is why brevity is really important, and it's very connected to self-doubt. So once you are able to eliminate the self-doubt, you are able to come up with clearer and more precise explanations of anything. So if this is you, and if you are looking for ways to move to the next level of people, of communication, of interactions, of relationships with people, you always need to have a brief version of what you want to say and a detailed version. A brief version and a long version. Think of any conference you've been to, especially if you have spoken at any of the conferences, very often at conferences it happens so that you're the speaker number 16 and 15 people before you gave a 15-minute pitch and 15 people before you abused their time, which means you were supposed to have 15 minutes, but when it's your turn, you only have 5 because everyone else has abused their time. So of course you have prepared your talk and you practiced how you're going to put your ideas in a 15 minutes talk. But a disaster happens when you try to fit your 15 minutes talk in 5 minutes that you have. This is where all the messy and confusing pitches come from. When people try to squeeze in their long version in the 5 minutes that they have. Instead, they should have a 5-minute version of their talk. And because they don't have it, they're trying to come up with it on stage, they're trying to come up with it right now, and because they're not sure if their new version is okay, they always doubt themselves, they radiate their doubt, and they confuse everyone else as well. And they're nervous because they're not sure that their brief version is good enough, and because they're looking for words. And if that happens to a non-native speaker, I guarantee they're going to be scared as hell, because they have to come up with something on the spot in the language which is not their first language, and they need help, and they need someone to edit their text, and they don't have that someone to edit their text to tell them that it's okay. So it's very, very challenging. Therefore, brevity is an essential skill. You always want to have a brief version and a long version. A brief version of your job title, what do you do? A brief version of your presentation, what does your company do? A brief version of your startup, why is it an innovative and breakthrough idea? A brief version of what you're trying to achieve in life so that you excel at any networking event. A brief version of why do you live here and not somewhere else? A brief version of what do you value in people and in life? So a brief version of everything. A good exercise for me personally to develop the skill of brevity is summarizing everything. I call it summarize everything. I summarize my day, I summarize the videos that I watched, I summarize the podcast that I listened to, I summarize the emails that I receive, I summarize the conference calls, and I do it not because I have to write the minutes of the call or not because someone is expecting this brief version from me, but because I'm learning to extract the essence, the gist of every conversation I'm having, every piece of information I'm receiving. I'm practicing to communicate the most important thing. So when people ask me, so what? I know exactly what to say. Well, even when people ask you, how was your weekend? You don't go like, oh, what did I even do this weekend? You don't go like this. You know exactly what was the most valuable and the most interesting part of your weekend. When somebody asks you, how was the conference? You know exactly what to say. You always have that brief version. So it makes a lot of sense to summarize everything that's going on in a second language, to create those brief versions, to write them down, and then either have someone edit these versions or learn to edit it yourself. In the course that I have created, Confident Business Writing for Non-Native Speakers, we learn to do this all the time. So people learn to edit their own thoughts, edit their own writing, which ultimately affects the way they speak. But brevity and clarity, I would say, these are the cornerstones of the next level. Knowing when to shut up, knowing how to put your ideas in few words, knowing how to put a lot of meaning in very few words, knowing how not to waste people's time, and knowing how to be on the same page with people and how to get there very fast. This is all brevity. When you respect people's time, you're able to read the feedback, you're able to connect on a human level by knowing how to communicate the gist, the essence like that, without rambling around for hours. This is the next level.